Welcome to Go Next. You know adjectives describe things. But how do you compare them? You need the degrees of adjective, positive, comparative, and superlative. It's not just adding or est. What about good, bad, and far? When do you use more? In this lesson, you'll master all the rules and exceptions. Ready to level up your English? Let's begin. Go next. The degrees of adjectives are different forms of an adjective that allow us to compare nouns, people, places, things, or ideas, with each other. Adjectives have three forms for comparison. Positive, the basic form. This coffee is hot. Comparative, compares two things. Your coffee is hotter than mine. Superlative, shows the extreme in a group. This is the hottest coffee in the world. Let's learn these degrees of adjective in detail. The positive degree gives us the basic fact: this is a heavy box. It just describes a single thing. The comparative degree puts two things against each other: that box is heavier than this one. Notice there are ending and the key word than. Finally, the superlative degree identifies the ultimate one in a whole group: this is the heaviest box in the shipment. See the est ending and the definite article the. This pattern works for many one-syllable adjectives, like heavy. But now, let's talk about the rules for other types of adjectives and the important exceptions you must know. Most adjectives follow the pattern: small, smaller, smallest. But some are irregular, like good, better, best. Knowing which is key to speaking correctly. The positive degree is the simplest form. It just describes a noun, with no comparison. You use it for simple descriptions: a tall building, a kind person. It's also used to show equality with the structure as, my car is as fast as your car. And you use it to list qualities in a series: the dessert was sweet, creamy, and delicious. Next, let's move to the comparative degree. The comparative degree is for comparing exactly two things. The main rule is to use it with the word than to show a difference: my car is faster than yours. It's also used to show how something is changing: the water is getting colder, or please drive more slowly. The key is remembering you are always dealing with two items or one item changing over time. The superlative degree is the highest level. We use it when comparing three or more things to find the ultimate one. It always answers the question, which is the most, or which is the least. Notice it is almost always used with the before it. For example, she is the tallest player on the team. Or, that was the most difficult question of all. Now, let's look at the specific rules for forming both the comparative and superlative degrees correctly. Here's a key rule for the comparative degree. When you compare two different qualities of the same person or thing, you must use more instead of the normal or form. For example, saying she is smarter than clever is incorrect. The correct form is, she is more smart than clever. This rule applies even with short, one-syllable adjectives like smart. Let's continue with more important rules. Rule 3. Do not use double comparative or superlative adjectives. Using two comparison words for a single adjective is incorrect. The adjective only needs one form to show the comparison. These mangoes are more tastier than those. Incorrect. These mangoes are tastier than those. Correct. The word tastier is already the comparative form. Adding more is unnecessary and grammatically wrong. Next. Ensure you are comparing like with like. The two things being compared must be logically equivalent. You cannot compare quality of one thing to the entire other thing. Example from the slide: my car's speed is better than my friend. Incorrect. My car's speed is better than my friend's. Correct. The correct sentence compares my car's speed to my friend's speed, making the comparison logical and parallel. Here are two more useful rules for using comparatives. First, to describe a continuous change, we can repeat the comparative with and. For example, the balloon got bigger and bigger, or she became more and more confident. Second, we can use the with two comparatives to show that one thing depends on another. For instance, the higher they climbed, the colder it got. This is a very common and useful structure in English. Now let's learn how to create comparative and superlative adjectives correctly. The rules depend on the spelling and length of the original adjective. Here is the simple system you need to follow. For one-syllable adjectives, the rules are straightforward. For most, just add er and est, tall, taller, tallest. But if it ends in a single vowel followed by a single consonant, double the last letter, big, bigger, biggest. And if it already ends with an e, just add r and st, large, larger, largest. Let's look at what happens with longer adjectives next. For two-syllable adjectives, we have two main rules. First, if the adjective ends with a y, like happy or busy, you change the y to an I and then add er or est, happy, happier, happiest. Second, for many two-syllable adjectives ending in lu, or ow, you can simply add er and est, gentle, gentler, gentlest. For other two-syllable adjectives, we use a different method. Let's look at that next. For most other two-syllable adjectives, especially those ending in full, less, us, and ing, we use more for the comparative and most for the superlative. For example, careful becomes more careful and most careful. Famous becomes more famous and most famous. This rule also applies to all adjectives with 3 or more syllables. For adjectives with 3 or more syllables, the rule is simple. Always use more for the comparative and most for the superlative. For example, beautiful becomes more beautiful and most beautiful. Intelligent becomes more intelligent and most intelligent. This is the most consistent rule. Now, let's look at the exceptions, the irregular adjectives that don't follow any of these patterns. Finally, we have the irregular adjectives. These don't follow any rules and must be memorized. The most important ones are, good becomes better and best. Bad becomes worse and worst. Many and much both become more and most. Little becomes less and least. Master these, and you'll avoid the most common mistakes in English comparison. Let's practice everything we've learned. Let's practice. Identify the degree of adjective in each sentence. First, this is a beautiful car. What degree is that? Next, her hair is longer than mine. Is this comparative or superlative? Third, Mount Everest is the world's tallest mountain. Which degree shows the highest level? Finally, these mangoes are tastier than those. What kind of comparison is this? Think about your answers. And here are the answers. This is a beautiful car uses the positive degree, it's a simple description. Her hair is longer than mine is comparative, comparing two people's hair. Mount Everest is the world's tallest mountain is superlative, it's the ultimate height. These mangoes are tastier than those is also comparative, comparing two groups. How did you do? Let's try one more practice to make sure you've mastered the degrees of adjectives. Here's a quick question to test your understanding. Look at the sentence, my new car is much, blank, than my old one. The options are A. Fast, B. Faster, or C. Fastest. Think about which one correctly compares two things, the new car and the old car. I'll give you a moment to decide. Let's analyze this question carefully. We're comparing two things, my new car and my old one. The word then is our clue that we need the comparative form. Fast is a one-syllable adjective, so the comparative is formed by adding er. The correct answer should be B, faster. Remember the pattern, for comparing two items, we use the comparative form, which for one-syllable adjectives means adding er. Let's continue with more practice to reinforce this concept. Here's another one to test your understanding. Look at the sentence, this is the blank movie I have ever seen. The options are A. More exciting, B. Most exciting, or C. Exciting. Notice the phrase "I have ever seen." This suggests we're comparing this movie to all other movies in my entire experience. Think about which form we use when comparing 3 or more items to find the ultimate one. Take a moment to choose your answer. Let's break this down carefully. The sentence says, "I have ever seen." This means we're comparing this movie to all other movies in my life experience. When comparing 3 or more items to find the ultimate one, we use the superlative form. Exciting is a 3-syllable adjective, so we use most plus adjective for the superlative. Therefore, the correct answer is A, most exciting. Well done if you got this right. Let's try another one to reinforce your understanding. Look at these 3 sentences. Each one contains an error with the degree of adjective. First, "This is the most happiest moment of my life." Second, "My bag is more heavier than yours." Third, "Today is more hot than yesterday." Look for the adjective in each one. Check if the comparative or superlative form follows the rules we learned. Think about what might be wrong in each sentence. And here are the corrections. The first sentence had a double superlative. Most happiest is incorrect. It should be the happiest. The second sentence had a double comparative. More heavier is wrong. The correct form is heavier. The third sentence used more with a 1-syllable adjective. For hot, we use the er ending, hotter. These are very common mistakes, but now you know how to avoid them. And that completes our lesson on the degrees of adjectives and rules to avoid common mistakes in English. Thank you very much for learning with us. Your journey to mastering English continues here. Stay connected for more lessons that help you learn, grow, and achieve. Subscribe to our channel to keep elevating your skills. We built this for you. Tell us what grammar topic you'd like us to cover next in the comments below. Go next.